everybody. I am Darth Volan. Welcome back, everybody. It's Pal Orange Hat here to do you another theme stream to end out the month of February. I still haven't found a theme for March, and I'm still thinking either go green or go March Madness, but not sports. So I might go Madness, where I don't talk about the movie, but rather the character in the movie who is batshit insane. So yeah, I might do that, and I might discuss a couple of characters that I will be discussing this Thursday with Mara. So hello to everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Star Wars: The Old Republic is the topic of today's discussion. With me in the chat, I have Vanya and I have Conroy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, we did indeed have a little bit of misfortune. And maybe try bricks. Well, here's the thing, dude. When you live in a 130-year-old house, I guarantee you will have a few choices with how you decide to create something. So, yeah. Never mock a person's misfortune, dude, because that's what it's coming across as. But anyway, with that out of the way, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite video games. And I actually did play this game for a while. Unfortunately, my incarceration put an end to my ability to continue playing it. But I also was not able to play it after I got out due to the fact that it was no longer available well, it was available. It's just I didn't have the resources necessary. I lost a lot when I was incarcerated, folks. But I still maintained a healthy love for the game, and it's Star Wars, so it's part of Star Wars Legends here, you know? So, yeah, I will always love this game. And I put Darth Volan in my name because that is a character that I created years ago when I was a teenager. I used to do fan fictions about Star Wars when I was a kid, before the prequels even came out, like a Sith Lord that had survived the Purge, that was a secret apprentice to Palpatine in order if the Empire had fallen, and that he would rise again. And I called him Darth Volan because he could be either malevolent or benevolent. Volen being in both of those words. And hello to Neozoic. Good to see you, good to see you, good to see you. So my favorite of the storylines in this entirety of the game belongs always to the Sith Inquisitor, Calig, also known as Darth Nox. Let me pull up Darth Nox. This is Darth Nox with his ancestor's countenance or helmet. This is Lord Calig, who was the Sith spirit. Now, folks, there is a Sith Lord that the Jedi Council wiped out, and I wanted to thank Star Wars Stupendous Wave for some of the knowledge that I am about to impart upon you. Shout out to Stupendous Wave for giving a little bit of background on one of the lesser known Sith Lords, except through mention only, Tulak Horde. Now, if you play the Sith Inquisitor line of this game, you will come across a character. Let me find him here. Kamval, who is a Deshad, a creature that literally feeds upon the Force. And he served Tulak Horde. Now, the only Sith Lord that Tulak Horde feared was Darth Calig, or Lord Calig. This guy was extremely dangerous. He climbed the ranks and destroyed anyone who got in his way simply because he wanted to be Darth or Tulak Horde's apprentice. So yeah, that shows the level of dedication. I haven't played because money, but watched the game movies. It wasn't always a pay to play. I mean, I paid to play. I had the 6 months subscription that I would pay every 6 months. But yeah, and hello to Psychone. I didn't know they considered Legends. Played it for many years. Yes, this actually is considered Legends because they don't, or they said the High Republic and the Republic was formed in Disney's continuity. It was formed 1,000 years prior to the events of the game or the events of the movies. So yeah, all the classes have great stories. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I think one of my favorites is the Imperial Spy. Yep, the Imperial Agent. I love, or the Imps or the Imperials. I love their storylines. I love the other or the Jedi storylines as well. The Republic storylines. I mean, Havoc Squad forever. But but the Sith Inquisitor is by far my favorite because you're literally a slave and you climb to be one of the most powerful Sith Lords in that time of history in Star Wars. Darth Nox, yes, he's only part of the game, but this dude literally took the souls of fallen Sith Lords and absorbed them to gain their power. He was a spirit walker, essentially. This dude could absorb so many. And yes, he accidentally absorbed too many and ended up needing a ritual on Voss to help him cope with all that power. But he still kept on pushing his bounds. And then the Eternal Empire came along and he just continued pushing through as the Outlander if you play his story. The Outlander is ambiguous in the full history due to the fact that it could have been one of several different characters. But I also love the play sets of the Sith Inquisitor, especially the move sets. If you are a Lightning Inquisitor, man, you can rain hell on your opponents. Have you heard of a channel called Star Wars Central? He did lore vids on character classes. Very good. I'll have to check him out. Soul Assassin. Send me the link to that channel in or on X, please. Opinions on the famous old Republic cinematic trailers. Those trailers were, I mean, that's how they got me to play, man. Because you had characters that were just extremely interesting. Darth Malgus, Satil Shan, Benzalo, and the others. And there you go, folks. Sub to Star Wars Central right there. I started out playing Sith Inquisitor, hooked me from the get-go. Exactly. And Darth Zash. I mean, I have some of the things here, folks. Let me see if I have Darth Zash. I believe I have Darth Zash. Oh, crap. I don't have Darth Zash. But I love the old and young look that she gives, where you see her as a young, beautiful Sith Lord, but then you see what she really looks like because she's been drawing off of her own students' energies and sucking up their souls. Basically like a minor version of, like a minuscule version of what Vitiate did. And, I mean, this whole game has so much expansive knowledge, little nitpick or little tiny buds of information that are extremely valuable to Star Wars fans everywhere. So, but yeah, Darth Nox, who is the descendant of Calig, the only Sith Lord that Tulak Horde feared, because Tulak Horde, well, yeah, he's like, dude, you just keep growing in power. I can't keep you around. He killed Calig because Calig would have overthrown him eventually. But he had no desire to, if I remember correctly. But Calig was extremely powerful. And his descendant, also more powerful. Calig was also different because he was all for non-humans to be a part of the Sith. He welcomed anyone who could empower the Sith. I thought the game was limited, free to play. Now, if you don't pay monthly, you can lock and unlock one character to play at a time. Oh, shit, man. Sadly, the worst part is they limit credits. So, yeah, credit numbers was very much limited. I do remember the free to play as well as the pay to play. I did pay to play. I also got the because I had beaten the game so many times with all the classes, I decided to get that one thing that you could purchase once and you can continue, or you could always start your characters off at such a high degree, maxed out every time. I eventually started doing that. And hey, it's like, well, okay, and then I can, if I start a new character, I could just continue going through with the different or with the full upgrades, you know. But with the Inquisitor, man, I love that storyline. I absolutely love it. Now, after the initial games, when you get to the Moons of Rishi and the Hutt Cartel, as well as the Revan Reborn, it all is the same storyline. You meet Lana Beniko, and Lana Beniko is one of my favorites as well. Let me get the overlays up here. Where is that beautiful Sith Lord? Yeah, Lana Beniko. She is absolutely devoted to the Sith ideals. However, she understood that the Sith weren't always on the right path. So she was completely dedicated to the Sith code, but not the Sith Empire. You know? And that was another thing that was very intriguing, because if you play as a Jedi, you could actually fall in love with her, and you know what? You'll never redeem her, but you could still have a romance with her. Then you got Darth Malgus here, who essentially met Darth Malgus. I loved his character up to a point. When later on, after the Eternal Empire and the Nathema conspiracy, they brought him back in a more cybernetic way, kind of making him more like a Darth Vader-ish kind of being, more cybernetic, after he had fallen from trying to take over the Sith Empire. The comics are good too. Darth Thanatos 1 could be considered a prequel to the Inquisitor story. Yep, because he is the main antagonist of the Sith Inquisitor storyline. I still have the Malgus collectible from Collector's Edition. Nice. How would I compare Darth Malgus with other Sith Lords such as Exar Kun? Comparing anyone to Exar Kun is basically just nuts. However, Darth Malgus does reach up into that echelon. However, he is on the lower part of it. Exar Kun was powerful. That dude walked right into the Senate as a Sith Lord, into the Galactic Senate, frickin' dug around in the Chancellor's brain matter, and frickin' declared allegiance to the Sith, essentially. Darth Traya, she was like a female version of Palpatine 1,000 years before, or 4,000 years before Palpatine ever existed. Vitiate, dude, what can't that he was the closest to ever becoming a god, a Force god. Plagueis, Bane, Sidious, they don't eat, or all the rest, they don't even come close to the ancient Sith. Exar Kun, sure, he and Traya were extremely powerful. Exar Kun, yes, he is another level. I mean, Marka Ragnos bestowed upon him the title of Sith. His ghost found him and Ula Keldroma and said, "You two are essentially the ones who I give my blessing to carry on the Sith." So, yeah, Exar Kun was on a whole nother level. But getting back to the game, I mean, Malgus, he became powerful, so powerful that he wanted, or Sidious wanted Vader to learn from his teachings, Malgus's writings, except he took the wrong lessons, you know. But Malgus was extremely powerful. He defeated a Jedi weapons master when he was nothing but a Sith apprentice. That Zabrak master, I can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the one who was teaching Satele, he was a Jedi weapons master, unrivaled in the lightsaber skills, except unless you are as powerful in the dark side as somebody like Darth Malgus, who was only at that time just coming into his own. Satele Shan, don't take a stick at her either, man. This chick fought Malgus 3 different times, I believe, and kicked his ass. or nearly died to him once in the same instance of her master, but was saved by her master with a clever saber throw. But she fought, or she faced him when he was even stronger, and when she was also stronger. Calvin Zash, yeah, Calvin Zash, yeah, or Calvon something. I know there, or the Z is also there too. Malgus' big thing was trying to get the Empire to recruit everyone possible to the Sith Empire in defiance of the purity argument in the Sith. Yes, he was very much also like Calig and Darth Nox. They were basically, that's why whenever I did Darth Nox or the Sith Inquisitor, I always did either a pureblood Sith or I did an alien version or an alien species, because I believe that it just fit better when doing it. And wait one second, folks. But yeah, I remember crashing in. It's not 3 droids with a mean open volley. Yeah. Hey, Pierce, good to see you. Let's see here. The Valkorian and the story of the children during the Night of the Fallen Empire expansion was really well written from my observation. Yes, it was. I mean, the characters in that were extremely good, but let me get back to where I was. With Satele Shan, she had Tuda Menace locked down. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tuda Menace is the ability to absorb energy from any energy supplying source and being able to absorb it and use it to bolster your force abilities. So when Darth Malgus tried stabbing her and she put up her hand like this and took his lightsaber blade directly into her hand, she received no damage because she was literally using Tuda Menace to absorb all of that energy from that lightsaber and was basically able to collapse a fucking mountain on Darth Malgus, which is why he had to wear the respirator and whatnot. Not to mention, what's his name? I can't remember. He was Havoc Squad in that. He was also in that cinematic, blew half his face off trying to kill Malgus with a thermal detonator. I mean, Darth Malgus, dude, is a juggernaut that thrives on pain. Smash the like button. Yes, folks, smash the like button. Jace Malcolm. Yep, Jace Malcolm. And Jace Malcolm, he himself, dude, to be able to go up against a Sith Lord like Darth Malgus, however brief of a bit it was, he blew a freaking thermal detonator right in that dude's face. And he also took the blast himself, hoping that he would take down Malgus. Unfortunately, he didn't. So, yeah, Jace Malcolm, the ability was of Satele's was yeah, that's called Tuda Menace. She was extremely powerful in her own right, folks. Being a descendant of Revan and Bastila Shan. So yeah, she also has a son, Theron Shan, who is extremely weak in the Force. He's not Force sensitive as we all know him, but however, he is Force sensitive enough to sense the dark echoes on Nathema. So yeah, I do like his storylines where the revival of Revan came in, Malgus versus Vader. Yeah, I do believe I did a versus stream on that. Vader actually, I believe, won. Spoiler. But Malgus was extremely powerful. This was before the whole later bits in the game, folks. This was before the after stories of Night of the Fallen or Coffee and Kotet. Thank you. Thanks. Mm-hmm. And coffee. Awesome. Oh, I love coffee. That works. All right. How would I compare Satele Shan with other grandmasters such as Nomi Sunrider? No comparison with Nomi Sunrider. Yoda, Luke. Luke was always going to be the most powerful. Nomi Sunrider is on a whole nother fucking level. Nomi Sunrider could use the Force in so many different ways, in so many powerful ways. If she ever went up against Vitiate, I believe she could win hands down with ease because of the powers and techniques she knew. Nomi Sunrider was a character on a level that no Jedi could touch, really. However, Luke Skywalker in other feats of the Force, I mean, he reconstructed his father's castle just by using memory of the Force itself. And then he created a Force illusion around that castle to keep people from going there. I mean, that's how crazy Luke's power was. And yes, this game was extremely impressive. Good to see you, Christian Freights. Getting back to the overlays, I already went through Calig, Lord Scourge, and the Emperor's Wrath storyline, the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut are, because you don't have a defined character of the Emperor's Wrath, you only know him as the Emperor's Wrath. This dude was extremely powerful in his own right because the Emperor himself basically, allowed him to be the successor. And his whole arc was interesting because one of the things that I think was interesting that isn't really confirmed by the game. However, it's my own little fan theory, is that the Emperor's Wrath or the Sith Juggernaut that you play as, the Sith Sith Juggernaut. I believe that he had a latent ability that would be able to just trigger anger in others. Kind of like what Darth Bane did in Path of Destruction without really knowing he did it. However, the Sith Juggernaut was also able to do something similar to that because he was able to turn even Jedi mad with anger. He just somehow created a provocation within them. Even if you had the light side Jedi or the light side Sith Berserker or Sith Juggernaut, he would basically still provoke those Jedi, into going after him. And the Jaisa Wilson character herself, or her as well, also impressive. Darth Barris was the wide Sith 8. Darth Barris, man. That Sith Lord was not doing himself any favors. I'm not talking about who is powerful, strongest. I meant in terms of writing character and story-wise. Writing character and story-wise, Luke Skywalker was always going to be the best written. You don't get much off of Nomi Sunrider except for bits and pieces here and there, and plus her story. So yes, Luke Skywalker was the best written because he was also the most written. Let's see here. Jaisa Wilson. Yes, the light side or dark side version of her. And I'm not going to keep that up because I don't want to get pulled off of the game or pulled off my stream pulled because the clothing is rather suggestive and very provocative. But yes, Jaisa Wilson and her master turning to the dark side, just by fighting the dude, he freaking whips that guy up into such a freaking frenzy, man. And she has the innate ability to see the true inside and through the bullshit of other characters. So she saw that her master was indeed corrupted by the dark side. And if you are a dark side Sith warrior, or you can have her kill him to turn to the dark side, or if you're the light side, you can have her show compassion and whatnot. And you then go on a whole redemption arc for the inner or for the Sith, which was interesting. But yeah, Wilson or Jason Wilson, she fully thought it out, in my opinion. She was not afraid to use her sexuality in order to get what she wanted. Her character was very sexual and sensual, especially if you pursued the romantic arc with her. Or they don't show anything that happens. However, damn, let's just say that. Damn. That I'm pretty sure she'd rock anybody's world. There is a buyable character that you could buy in the game, Treek. Folks, what I'm about to tell you about this little fucking this murder teddy bear here is going to shock a lot of people. We're all aware, or show of hands, how many of you all in the chat know of Mandalorians? Show of hands. I'm pretty sure all of you in the chat know about Mandalorians. Well, here's something fascinating about Treek here. She's a Mandalorian Ewok. That's not a joke. She was welcomed into Clan Ordo. She tells you this if you are on the Sith side, or if you are on the Empire profiles. Hey, Sakura, good to see you. How are you doing? Yes, Treek is a Mandalorian. And I'm thinking to myself, you gotta be able to do some mad shit if you are one of those little murder teddies from Return of the Jedi, and yet you are a Mandalorian. She was welcomed into the Mandalorians by Clan Ordo, Canderous Ordo's clan. So yeah, she was a freaking. Now, when you hear all these people in Disney canon and shit talking, when are we going to see a strong female character? Yada, yada, yada. I'm thinking, put Treek in the show, or a character like Treek. I mean, seriously, a female fucking murder teddy who's a Mandalorian. Yeah, you would get, everybody would laugh that shit off. Me, I'd be like, hey, props to Treek, man. You're giving her a shout out. But obviously, Disney doesn't know how to do any of that. You also, when it comes to characters that are Ewoks, there was that one evil little shit during the Killing trilogy or the Dark Nest trilogy. Yeah. And then you get Treek. She walks in, busts a dude's nuts as she's walking in during the whole introduction of her character. She's walking under people, hits a dude in the nuts because you can hear him go, oh, and whatnot, and she's knocking everything over. That's a character. It's like her and HK51, I believe. Yeah, it's HK51 in these ones. Holy crap, man. I also like that HK47 is also back in the game too. Unfortunately, you got to destroy him in the Foundry. Did you prefer a Sith Order to be a group of numerous Sith Empire, or the Sith's Master and Apprentice rule of two? Both had their merits. The Sith Empire was a failed experiment, and that's admitted to by this guy. Let me pull it up. I will show you all three of his forms. Darth Vitiate, man. Tenebrae, Valkorion, and Vitiate. He is a character that built his Sith Empire, and then he's like, yeah, this is unsustainable. Fuck this. I'm going to do the Eternal Empire next. However, I'm not going to be focusing solely on the dark side. I'm going to allow them, or I'm going to empower them through loyalty. Their Force sensitivity came from their loyalty, because Okay, am I back? I got or I saw that my thingy copped out for a second. All right, Vitiate got tired of the Sith Empire, and because of Revan's influence, he went to create a new empire and had a family. Revan did something that was insane. Revan actually unsettled Vitiate to a point where he waited 300 years before invading the Republic. He managed to convince the most powerful force sensitive in existence that you should wait. They will kill you if you invade now. And he managed to convince him of that for 300 years. That's impressive. But as for the rule of two, each Sith Empire, considering rule of two or the rule of one, creates Sith, the Sith Empire, and so on. Each of them served as they were able to, and basically were relevant to the time or were needed for the time in which they were around. Basically, the rule of two, the Sith needed to evolve. They couldn't just be out in the open anymore. They needed to retreat into the shadows, and then they needed to rebuild their influence. Not many like how Revan's story was handled by SWTOR. I thought it had added too much to him. Yeah, a lot of people thought that it basically God modded him because he was so broken by Vitiate that he was split in two, his light side and dark side, when Revan was in fact a balance point. I have no problem with the Revan story. I believe that there should be powerful Jedi throughout and a character that was a potential balance point. Revan mastered both light and dark. And unfortunately, due to his incarceration by Vitiate, it allowed him to also maintain his light and dark abilities. That's how powerful Revan was. Yoda is basically as powerful as Revan. I mean, that's no joke. Revan was as powerful as Yoda in the ending days of the Old Republic. Only Yoda was basically as powerful as Revan. And Anakin was getting more powerful as he went on. He would have been as powerful or more powerful than Sidious. Sidious even said in episode 3, Darth Vader will become more powerful than either of us, because his power was growing exponentially. Unfortunately, Obi-Wan Kenobi put an end to that. But getting back to the game, let's get some more pictures up here. Let's see here. This Sith Lord was also interesting. Everybody knows who Darth Maul is, or Darth Mar, rather. And who's this? Oh, yeah, that's Arkin. I'll get to him in a minute. But Darth Mar, the only Sith Lord who remained loyal to the Sith, yet was able to pass into the Force and become one with it. It was his level of conviction to the Sith that allowed his spirit to endure and become one with the Force. No other Sith Lord, bar Darth Vader, could ever achieve that. Anakin Skywalker achieved that. But when it comes to Darth Maul achieved it in a more stronger way, because Anakin Skywalker, contrary to Disney's interpretation, couldn't maintain it. He couldn't maintain it for long because he didn't learn it well. Knights of the Old Republic remake is dead. Hopefully the OG lasts longer. Coder is I always liked the Coder games 1 and 2. They were always powerful, but SWTOR is where it's at, really. Especially, and now a lot of people say, well, we wanted Coder 3. You got Coder 3. You just got it in a way that you didn't like. That's the thing. Some people should honestly be more, and yes, this sounds hollow coming from somebody like me, But they should be thankful that they actually got a resolution storyline of Revan. It may not have come in the way that they liked, but you got your Coda 3 storyline through the Sith or the Jedi Guardian character. Going after this, or Darth Vitiate, killing Vitiate. Yeah, you got your Coda 3. It just wasn't the way you wanted it. And you know what? Unfortunately, that's just how you got to deal with it. I had no problem with it. I enjoyed it. Speaking of Revan, what is your opinions on the whole misconception of Darth Revan is the master of both light and dark? He mastered the light and dark of what he knew. He wasn't a master of every aspects of the light and dark side of the Force. He was what I call a potential balance point. Where Anakin was a balance point, and Jason Solo himself, before his fall during the Yuzan Vong War, was also a potential balance point. So was Revan. Revan was a potential balance point because he was able to use both light and dark in in a greater level of harmony. What are your thoughts on the nameless Sith ghost that Barriss had imprisoned? People say it was Kreia. It was Kreia. That was actually confirmed by the game that it was actually Kreia. Not the game itself, but the developers. The developers actually said, yeah, that was Kreia. Because she was also extremely powerful. She was found and imprisoned there, and Barriss then found her and unlocked greater power. So yeah. I believe that was Kreia. Now, getting to the Eternal Throne, with Arkin, Thexan, Senya, and Valkorion, Senya Taral is an extremely interesting character. Basically, she was Force sensitive in her own right, but she was also more imbued with the power of the Force, which was why sometimes her eyes were blue instead of brown. You also are the sons of Valkorion, Thexan and Arkin, left to right, Thexan in black, Arkin in white, was a good dichotomy because it showed her. I love that cinematic. I can recite it by heart. It is so great. And you know what? Because I love it that much, I will recite it right here. A man can have anything if he's willing to sacrifice. With your birth comes a solemn vow. You will have nothing. Your privilege is the dirt. In the darkness, only ambition will guide you. The promises you make, the oaths you swear, they are yours alone. Your birthright will be the wars you wage. I believe that's right. Yeah. Well, sorry, folks. It just left my freaking head a little bit, but I do know most of it. It's like the pain or your entitlement, the pain you endure, and when darkness finds you, you will face it alone. Let's see here. I used to have it. What the hell happened to it? Actually, I used to actually have that damn quote. But yeah, it's basically Valkorion's absolute creed. He knew that, or even in light or dark, dark always wins. Because as he told the Jedi Guardian, I cannot be redeemed. You're just gonna have to kill me. But yeah, or also the losses you suffer. God, I used to fucking know it, but I can't remember it. My apologies, folks. I said I knew it by heart, so that is my Oh, I'm not done yet, Vanya. Next week's themes, as I said, most likely they are going to be they are going to be March Madness, where characters are characters in movies that have gone mad in such a degree that are interesting of these psychological aspects. So I'm going to call it March Madness. The loyalty aspect you described finally helps me understand why Valkorion didn't just have Senya dealt with. It might have shaken the son's loyalty. No, um, that she was in charge of the guard. The reason why she wasn't killed was because she went in hiding. The the sons didn't care for her at all. They hated her. They hated her because of the lies that their father told her. Who is the most powerful of Valkorion's kids? She was a walking death field. Her power was so great, folks. It was better, or it was greater than Valkorion. She was more powerful than her own father. And the sister from Jack and Mass Effect times 10. I mean, Valen, I don't know if you have seen the comments. Hold on. Did you prefer the Sith to be a group? Do you think Sam Worthington will be a good character of playing Vitiat's son due to the likeness between the actor and the character? If it was done years ago, sure. He's older now. But yes, Valen, she was moving things in the womb. She was moving furniture while she was still in her mother's womb. That's how powerful that woman was. And when she finally unlocked her limitations due to the mental shields that Valkorion placed on her, the conditioning, the kneel before the dragon of Zakul bit, or once she removed that, she unleashed her power to such a degree that even Valkorion was shaken. His spirit couldn't maintain its presence in the area that everybody was around. Plus, being around her power as it was emanating off of her, it was a death field. She was killing everything around her. Her power was so great, she couldn't even control it. And so when she lifted up her hand to merely squeeze a fist, or when she was verbally sparring with the Outlander, she frickin' was choking people around her without even caring. Valen was a spoiled brat, but her power was undeniable. Her power was just that good. And you know what? I can understand why Valkorion put conditioning on her, because her power was that dangerous. She was a danger to everything. And also it was due to him not wanting anyone to challenge his power. He was, or while he, that's the thing about Valkorion, folks. He is the king of half truths. He will tell you a truth, but he will also lie while telling it. So when he was saying, I did it to protect you, what he isn't telling you is, I also did it to protect me. You are a threat to me. You are a threat to my power. And I don't. So, yes, he was protecting his daughter, but he was also protecting himself. Because if she ever got that powerful, she could kill him. Like that. Literally, like that. Arkin and Thexan? Arkin, I think that Thexan would have been a good successor to the throne. Arkin was too ambitious. But Valkorion had an ability that no other person could. Except now it was done with such ridiculous amounts in Disney Star Wars, where if you swing a lightsaber at somebody, you could just put out your hand and stop it with the Force. That was beyond, oh my God. It's like, are you serious? The only other person you saw in Star Wars do that before Disney started doing it en masse was Valkorion, suggesting he was so powerful he would stop a lightsaber from striking him on instinct alone. But then they had Vader doing it. They have Ahsoka doing it. They have Rey doing it. They have Kylo Ren doing it. It became absurd to the point of blatant retardation. You had Valkorion, who was stopping lightsabers, and his presence being attached to the Outlander also allowed the Outlander to stop lightsabers. And yet, they fucking do. Who would win in a fight, Vitiat's Empire or the Yuzhong Vong? Yuzhong Vong would put up a good fight, but Vitiat's Eternal Empire would slaughter him. Remember, he had the Eternal Fleet, which was millions of ships that were all self-sustaining, and many of them their grids together and focused their energy into one blast. The Yuzhong Vong are powerful, yes, folks. But if they ever went up against Vitiat's Eternal Empire, they would get slaughtered. I mean, Valkorion himself would fry the Yuzhong Vong. Put up an army of Yuzhong Vong against Valkorion, he would fry him. Now, yes, everybody's like, well, they can't be felt through the Force. They can't be felt through the Force, but they can be attacked by it. You could use Force Lightning against the Yuzhong Vong. Luke Skywalker, I believe, used Force Judgment against the Yuzhong Vong, which is the weaker facsimile of Force Lightning. Funny how Vitiat and his kids are descended from a nobody Sith Lord that had their soul locked away in a holocron by Vitiat. Yeah. Lord Drommeth, who was a pathetic Sith Lord in his own right, but he literally gave birth to the embodiment of evil. I remember talking OG about the so many missed opportunities with the hidden Sith Empire lore. Could have stories of them fighting Vong and other creatures in the unknown regions. Yeah, I mean, sorry about that, folks. I had a call. But OG knows her stuff. I mean, me and her don't get along much. We don't talk much, but I will always admit that she knows her stuff. And you know what? If she ever wants to talk Star Wars again, I'm all for it. But yeah. And hello to Junebug. Good to see you. Good to see you. But the game itself, folks, I really like the unique storylines of each class. I mean, Havoc Squad, you're basically dealing with the previous version of it betraying the Republic. And then you also got to put up with Havoc, or a new Havoc Squad, which is has a Gand, has a what's his name, wrinkly faced dude, who's who's also wants to take cuts on the side and shit. You also have a former Imperial joining Havoc Squad. Yeah, love that one. Definitely, he is one of the best Star Wars villains, Emperor. Oh yeah, I mean, everybody says who would win between Sidious and Valkorion. Valkorion would slaughter Sidious. He'd be like, so you created a Force Storm. Okay, let me show you what I can do. I mean, sure, Sidious used a Force Storm, sent it through a wormhole, fried a planet. Fucking Valkorion ate planets, sucked the life out of planets to fuel his immortality. And Sidious, he wanted the key to immortality, but he's stuck with essence transfer because he never learned the Emperor's ritual. And he didn't have enough people to perform the Emperor's ritual to allow himself to be stronger. Sidious had limits. He didn't want to rule a dead galaxy while Vitiat didn't care. Exactly, Soul Assassin. Thing is, Vitiat wanted to consume all life in the galaxy, and then move on to another and rule that one as a god. Where Palpatine was a psychopath who only wanted to rule a galaxy. How much Neozoic? I'm just feeling under the weather. I'm sorry that you're feeling under the weather, man. And sad grandpa not doing good. And I'm sorry about your grandfather too. I meant to actually do that one when that one came up. Would you say Darth Nihilus is the same level of Vitiate? No. No, Neozoic, I would not. What Darth Nihilus did was an imperfected version of what Vitiate was. Vitiate consumed planets as well as the living force and the force of every living person and thing on the planet and drew it into himself. Where Nihilus simply slaughtered everything and fed off the devastation of it, which is an imperfect version of what Vitiate did. He couldn't fuel himself. He was in a constant state of hunger where Valkorion could go thousands of years without doing the ritual again. Nihilus's hunger needed to be fed or it would eat him. Yeah, Vitiate didn't have that problem. Exactly, Soul Assassin. Makes the Star Wars lore more interesting with so much Sith knowledge was lost during the Dark Ages and the incident during the Rule of Two. Yeah, Darth Gravid destroying much of the Sith Vault and Sith knowledge. But also, the Jedi, when they found out about Tulak Horde, they completely destroyed any record of him, which also comes to play in the game with the Sith Inquisitor, because Tulak Horde was also instrumental to the ascendancy of Lord Calig, or of Darth Nox. I mean, folks, yeah, all these Sith Lords, Malgus and all of them, great that they're all powerful and whatnot. But when it comes to Tulak Horde, he was slaughtering thousands of Jedi on the battlefield. Kem Val at his side only freaking added to the devastation. Calig himself also was capable of doing a lot of damage too. And that's why Tulak Horde feared him. Because, well, yeah, Calig did the same thing. Essentially, just not to the greater or a higher degree, but he actually managed to get Tulak Horde's attention, and he's like, all right, yeah, I'll take you on. And then he became extremely powerful, and, well, Tulak Horde feared it and killed him. Who else is in here that I wanted to talk about? I believe that was everybody in the overlays. But yeah, all the overlays I've already shown. But Shriek, man, she is by far my favorite freaking companion. That freaking Ewok, that Mandalorian Ewok, is so freaking cool. And the guy, if they ever did a movie about Valkorion under Disney, Franco Nero is the guy to play him. I mean, I don't know who Franco Nero is, so I would actually have to think about that. I think it was Stupendous Wave that suggested Tulak Horde was an apprentice of Ajunta Paul or fought in the 100 Years Darkness. Yeah, I believe it was Stupendous Wave that suggested that. He had a good theory on that. Because Tulak Horde is not mentioned within any of the Jedi archives. Ajunta Paul and all of them were. When it came to the plundering of Korriban, they went specifically to Tulak Horde and destroyed as much as they could. Thankfully, they never found the vault to Kem Val, because if they had and accidentally released him, oh shit. You know? The Jedi Order would have been slaughtered if they had accidentally released him. Deshad, folks, they're extremely dangerous. They feed on the Force. The only reason why he didn't feed on Lord Calig or Darth Nox was because, well, Darth Nox beat him or defeated him and basically got a life debt. Mar was the only one to find out Tulak Hord's lightsaber and few other items. Yep. And Darth Mar was also a powerful Sith Lord in his own right. I did cover it earlier. He was the only Sith Lord to ever become one with the Force, aside from Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker technically was redeemed before he became one with the Force. So yeah, Darth Mar is the only Sith Lord to ever become one with the Force and become a Force ghost. Now, there's a difference between Force ghosts and Sith ghosts and Sith phantoms. Sith phantoms are essentially the antithesis of Force ghosts. Sith phantoms are basically where it's an unrested Sith Lord. They want, or they crave power to such a degree that they don't want to let go even in death. Where Darth Maul's convictions, he even said, "It is you who fears death, Valkorian. I do not, and I will not kneel." And he held true to that conviction right up to the moment of his death. And he died. And he let go. He actually let go and became one with the Force. And he was still a Sith Lord. And yet, he still became one with the Force. Would you, or who would win? Franco Nero is basically an Italian Christopher Lee. He was the guy in the Django Unchained who said, "Can you smell it?" Jamie Foxx spells it and said, "Yes, I know." He was the original Django. I would have to watch that. I don't know. I've never seen Django Unchained. Who would win in a duel? Vitiate or Yoda? Fucking Vitiate would slaughter him. Vitiate or Vitiate is more powerful than both of those two put together. Folks, Vitiate is on par with the ones of Mortis. He could actually rival them. And I know I'm not very much into the Filoni taint and shit. Unfortunately, George Lucas thought up the ones of Mortis. Didn't the Dashad homeworld get destroyed by Exar Kun's trap that caused suns to explode around? Yeah, I do believe so. Franco Nero was also the bad guy in Die Hard 2, the dictator on the plane. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. I can look that up quickly afterward. But thank you, Junebug. But as for the game, folks, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the game up to a point. It all became, or I like the individuality of the original game, but then the later expansions, it had a sense of individuality, yes, for each class. However, it was the same storyline. It was the same soul storyline that kept you going forward, you know? So, yeah. And here's the thing, folks. They also did the whole gay storyline. They allowed for gay and lesbian relationships in the game. True, it didn't come till later on when people were asking if they would put it in. But here's the thing. They already had gay and lesbian lifestyles in Star Wars even before the game came out due to the EU and Karen Travis, the Goran Bevan, or the Bevan Vassar farm. Goran Bevan was a gay Mandalorian and married to a male Mandalorian himself, Medrit Vassar. So yeah, when everybody's like, "Oh, they only did that for woke reasons," bullshit. They did that before woke even came out. Woke came out in 2015. They were doing this shit far before that, you know. But we are getting to the hour, folks. So I do these for about an hour. And tonight I will be on the Barroom Podcast. I also have a video releasing in 15 minutes from now. That will be on Rachel Zegler and her attempt at maturity. Thank you to everybody who joined in today. Neozoic, Soul Assassin, Junebug, Sakura or Sakura Mita. Who else? Psychoan, thank you for tuning in. Conroy, thank you for tuning in. And Pierce, thank you for being in. Kirsten Fritz. And who else? And Vanya, obviously. So, yes, thank you to everybody who tuned in on YouTube as well as X. Next month, I will be doing March Madness. Characters who were crazy enough to really do a psychological study on. And yes, I will most likely be doing one on the main character of Law Abiding Citizen, which I will be discussing this Thursday with Mara on my X profile, Orange at 2185 or Orange 2185. So make sure that you subscribe or follow that one, folks. I don't do this for money. I ain't in this for money. And yes, it has impacted my ability to grow because YouTube will actively censor you if you do not choose to monetize, which is kind of weird. So if you can, share my stuff out, share my videos, share my links to my channel, share all of that out. Ask people, hey, if you want to subscribe and whatnot. If you think that they might enjoy the content, I'm doing it so that you are all informed or entertained. And, you know, if you like movie discussions, if you like a person who will give a blunt opinion, that's what I do. So, yeah, that's the sort of stuff that I like and I do. I do report on videos every now and then. Sunday's weekly recap, I will be discussing a couple of topics that I did videos on today, but I will have a panel to discuss it with. Then also a thing on Alec Baldwin. So, yeah, thank you to everybody who tuned in. Y'all have a wonderful night and day. I will see you on the Barroom Podcast tonight on Society Reviews channel at 8 p.m. So make sure you tune in for that. And we're going to be talking about all sorts of different things. And yeah, I will see you then, folks. And until then, have a wonderful night. And always remember to stay humble. Peace.
Are you done? Are you done?